Shall we all mute ourselves?
Alice, or let me
Yes,
see.
At this point, it probably doesn't matter, but after I give my toast, then it would be good.
Okay.
Or you can mute yourselves and then I will say unmute yourselves and you can unmute and toast.
So welcome everyone to A Taste of the League, hosted by the League of Women Voters of Manatee County. My name is Cheryl Kaplan and I am membership co-chair. And I am so pleased to be your facilitator for this evening. Tonight, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, our focus is on voter services, which I personally feel is the chief or the most important activities that our league does across the nation. Our special guest speakers tonight are Dr. Felecia Jett with our voter services on the Florida state level. And joining her is Carolyn Sheets, our voter services chair for Manatee County. A couple housekeeping tips. We're going to ask you to stay muted. And if you have a beverage nearby, plan on joining us in the toast. And if you have some questions as our speakers speak, if you could put them in the chat box and then we'll call on them a little bit at a time. Anyway, this meeting is being recorded so that we can check up on ourselves and make sure that everything we did, we love. And let's start with our president, Alice Newland, and her toast for this evening's event. Alice?
Thank you. I am going to ask you to unmute yourselves to toast when we're ready for the toast. So I have my glass here. Our toast today is to voting informed. Being an informed voter means to be knowledgeable about the issues and positions of candidates that you're voting on. It means that you are able to make decisions without influence from outside factors intended to persuade those who may not fully understand the candidates' platforms or positions. With vote411.org, our voters guide, our candidate forms, and our 102-year-old policy to not support or endorse any candidate or party, the League does more than any other entity to help citizens vote informed. So unmute yourself, raise your glasses, and toast to voting informed.
Voting informed. Voting informed.
Yay.
Thank you so much, Alice and everyone. Now it's my pleasure to introduce my partner in membership committee in Manatee and my friend, Dr. Felecia Jett. Felecia is a very busy woman. She's been a member of the League of Women Voters of Manatee County since 2016, initially becoming involved with voter registration. She became a member of the board in 2019, gradually moving into the membership chair position, as well as serving on the education team, social issues, and voter services committees. In 2021, Felecia became membership chair of the League of Women Voters of Florida. While her focus is working with membership chairs throughout the state, she is motivated to build diverse partnerships and relationships among organizations. Recently, Felecia has been appointed as well as co-chair of voter services for the League of Women Voters of the whole state. Today, she will give an overview of the League of Women Voters for Florida Voter Services Action Team. Thank you, Felecia.
Thank you, Cheryl. I'm going to share my screen really quick. And I wanted you to see the composition of our voter services team at the state level. It is headed by Marisol Zentino. She's the chair of voter services, but she's also serves on the executive committee as the first vice president. And she also serves as the diversity, equity, inclusion chair. Again, I was appointed to the board in March of this year at the state level and started out as chairing membership at the state level, but in April was asked to co-chair voter services. It was Marisol's brainchild when she started as chair of voter services to take this big monster of voter services and split it up. And that's what you see. That's what you will see down at the bottom is the 7 people that she has worked with to be leads on certain items. So under voter services, we have Linnell Philman, and Linnell, it leads the voter registration. Linnell also serves as first vice president at the Jacksonville First Coast Local League. Monica Elliott is from Broward County, and she serves as the lead for candidate forums. Ronnie Heller just joined our team, and she is also from Broward County. She leads the election protection. Heidi Davis also recently joined our team. She serves as tech support for Vote 411. And Heidi is from Pinellas County. Carol Fogelsong is from Orange County, and she addresses any questions about Vote 411 with the local leagues. Sean Bartelt is from Sarasota County, and she is also the second vice president on the executive committee. And she serves as the Get Out to Vote promotions lead. And Debbie Chandler, who is from Palm Beach County, serves as the Returning Citizens League, and she is also on the board of directors at the state level. All these are volunteer positions, except for our executive director, who is Leah Nash, that helps us keep this boat moving. So I'm going to stop share and tell you a little bit about each one of those areas. The team actually meets with each local league member who serves as voter services chair on a monthly basis. And at those meetings, they provide any updates, especially from a legislation standpoint, answer any questions, and ensures that each league has the tools that they need to keep their leagues up and running from a voter services standpoint. Along with those types of meetings, there are sometimes town halls that are held on voter services. There are toolkits that are out there that are pulled together by the voter services team. And a lot of the information it doesn't flow one way. The leagues across the state, there are 29 local leagues, and some of them cover multiple counties. But the 29 local leagues, we share a lot of information. If one league has information, has a postcard, has a survey, has whatever, we don't want to reinvent that wheel. But we also want to ensure that we have some best practices for across the board. One of the biggest things is voter registration. And from a voter registration standpoint, it is important that we ensure that our members are trained from a voter registration standpoint, and that training does come from the state. We want to ensure that our members who do go out into the communities and train meet the standards that are required, legal standards that are required, the rules and regulations that are required. Another thing that the Florida League does, we partner with a lot of different organizations that are like-minded. Being that we are nonpartisan, we also try to work with other groups that support the things that we are interested in. For example, we partner with vote writers. And what vote writers do is they try to ensure that every eligible voter has an ID. And sometimes when you're in different communities, dealing with some members that are people that are at the poverty level, Black and brown communities, students, they may not have the resources. So what Vote Writers does is cover those costs of the vital documents that that they may need They also sometimes arrange for transportation, and they also have pro bono services. So when we partner with those types of groups, they have speakers that come and speak with our voter services chairs. And a lot of things that they also do from a vote writer standpoint is try to eliminate any of the confusion that's out there, because the voting rules change per state. So a lot of times you may get someone that comes from another state into Florida, and they expect that they can vote in both, in the primary or in the general election. They don't know that it may be, they have to, look at it from a Democratic or Republican standpoint. The other thing I wanted to share is from a candidate forum standpoint. A lot of information sometimes comes from the US League. We get speakers that come in from the US, and on candidate forums recently, we had a speaker from the US. It is vital to our organization to ensure that we maintain our nonpartisan lens. And a lot of times, sometimes we may err on the side of caution and not do something just because there are so many entities out there that are looking at us and how we're operating. So from a best practice standpoint, and a resource from the US recently spoke on how to understand the regulatory framework. We, from a federal standpoint, we look at the Federal Elections Commission, which is the FEC. From a broadcasting standpoint, we are regulated by the FCC, which is the Federal Communications Commission. We also have what we call the Court of Public Opinion. So we have to be, again, when there's a gray area of perception, we sometimes err on the side of caution. There's also state disclosure laws. So we have to be aware of those. And so again, we're working with the local leagues as well to ensure that they are aligned and they understand and err on the side of caution. Perception sometimes is reality to the voters' eyes. The other thing we have guidelines when we do debates and forums and meet and greets. So those are some of the best practices that we share with the local leagues. And also, I had mentioned toolkits from a candidate forum standpoint. There may be candidate forum questions. Sometimes the local leagues come up with their own questions, but sometimes we also provide the questions that may come up in a candidate forum. We give guidelines as far as calculating the time frame. A lot of work has to go into developing a candidate forum, as well as with 411. So the 411.org. So there are like, I want to say cheat sheets, but there are schedules that are put together that the local leagues can use for that participation. The other thing that was mentioned was Vote 411. Wanted to talk a little bit about that. And it is the resource or voting guide that anyone can go online at vote411.org and put in their address, and they can pull up information about the candidates in their area. It will not be available. I believe it's going to be available on July 20th is when it's going to go live. Again, that is print. We have print and we have digital, but the digital you can access at vote411.org. From that, from a local standpoint, we have the resource toolkit that I mentioned before. There's training that is provided to the local leagues, and they have training videos. They have sample candidate questions, again, for Vote 411. There's promotional material that is available for social media, logos, branding, promotional material. And one of the things that we've added this year is the QR code and the widgets of that nature that can be used. The information, I believe, is on the focuses on both the state as well as the local races. The local leagues pull together the local information, and the state usually works with the local league to get the state information. And both are in, I think, English and Spanish. We have someone to translate that. The other thing that we work with is returning citizens. And that is headed up. We have pro bono attorneys that help research records or files and file motions if necessary. And we partner with the Florida Rights Restoration Group, which is another third party. From the election protection standpoint, we partner with the Election Protection Coalition. And there's about 100 organizations that participate with that. It is a nonpartisan organization as well. And the way we coordinate that with the local leagues, there are 4 ways the local leagues can participate. They can promote the 866 1 hour vote by handing out material. They can have social media and digital type access as well. We also, the local chapter can engage by helping to recruit poll workers. They can help to recruit poll monitors, and they can also organize poll monitoring in their county. So those are 4 ways that they can help. And training is also provided to the local leagues for that. The other thing that we have is what is called, we partner with state voices at the Florida state level. And this is like a voter action network. It's a voter database that you can go in and look at the voters that have actually voted and get information if you were going to do some voter outreach. So that's another resource for the local leagues. And there's training for that as well. Last but not least, we also partner with, we have a couple of interns that we partner with the University of North Florida. And we are working with them on a project right now to look at some of the voting practices that have occurred over the past 10 years. And that we're going to pull together like a database that the local leagues can go on and pull information. And that could be a resource for another voter outreach project if they would interested in that. Let's see. I want to make sure I covered everything. And if you have any questions, please put those in chat. But there's a lot going on from a state standpoint. And I guess that was my presentation. So if anyone has any questions, if there are any.
They do, Dr.
Okay.
And first of all, one question is, how can any of our league members research more of the research and trainings?
Okay, what was the question again?
How can any of our league members research more of our research and trainings?
Well, I would think that if you wanted to be on, like, say, the Voter Services Committee, that would be one way that you could get access, whatever your interests are. So all the committees have chairs, and I'm sure if you're interested in coming to some of the training, we can share that information with you. Even if it's education or social issues, they're all the chairs are supported by the Florida State League.
And they can get on, can't they get on the distribution list for the state chair? So you can,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
you can go to the state meetings for
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And everything's recorded. So if there's something that you're really interested in, we can get you that information as well.
And so the other question came, where Rhonda Peters asked, where do we find these toolkits? And then Carolyn came back in and said they're available at the local voter services chairs. So, and Carolyn put in there her contact information. So thank you for these questions.
Oh, okay, great.
I have a personal question.
Yes.
Do you sleep?
Yes, every night.
Okay, well, that's, well, I'm glad to hear that. One of the fun part of our meetings is our polls. And this poll was created by our very wonderful president who had, oh, she blows my mind, Alice. And so Alice is going to put up the poll question. And then here you get to,
Oh, no, you are logged in from another device. Your polling session is inactive.
Oh, no.
I know I logged in here.
oh
Did it-
my, I guess I'll read it. I guess I'll read them out loud and you just have to
Yeah.
listen really well. Oh, here's the question. What are evidence-based ways to motivate people to vote? A, gentle social pressure. B, discuss that people are not voting. C, help make a plan for voting. D, connect with the voter and be enthusiastic. E, robocalls. Who wants to guess? There could be 1, 2, or 3 or 4 answers, or all of the above. What do you think? What's the consensus? Is it A, gentle social pressure? Raise your hand. Up, okay. Discuss that people are not voting. B. All right. Help make a plan for voting. I see hands. Here we go.
Yeah, we gotta get to the little device to raise our hand. Okay.
Well, they can raise your hand on the screen too. That's
Oh,
fine.
okay, okay.
I can see it, but okay. And how about those ever popular robocall? Rebecca, thumbs up, Rebecca says. How about the never popular connect? Oh, robocalls. According to Alice's notes here, really, whatever you can do works, but please focus on A, B, and C. Oh, A, C, and D.
It's the gentle pressure. Let me get the thing. Is gentle social pressure, like, what? You're not gonna vote? Oh, gee. And then it come back later. Oh, did you see that gentle social pressure? Help make a plan. So to help make them like, how are you going to research? How are you going to get to the polling place? Those kind of things. And connect with the voter. So when you're going and you're talking about voting, you don't say you're going to vote. You go, you find a connection. The most powerful thing is that connection. So that the connection with friends, family, that's the most powerful way. Somebody you don't know at all, and you're at their door, you need, if you find a connection between you two, then it becomes a much more powerful incentive to sort of want to belong. Discussing why people are not voting, to go to the door and say, well, you vote on and off, and that's happening more and more, and it just really looks bad. That's not a good idea, because you've just made not voting okay, because lots of people are doing it. And of course, robocalls. I sometimes don't want to vote for somebody because they gave me a robocall. So.
Yeah, it certainly is an important topic, especially as we move into these primaries and also going forward. It's always important. I came from a place where people thought one way, and now I'm in an area where people think another. And sometimes it's so interesting to hear why people vote and don't vote. And oh my gosh, what can I say? It's a very important topic. All right, so next, it's my pleasure to introduce Carolyn Sheets. And she's a retired school teacher from Northern Ohio. And in 2015, she and her husband moved to Manatee County. And here, Carolyn's very busy as well, and presently is involved as the chair for our voter services here in Manatee County. Carolyn, welcome.
Hi, I am here.
I just wanted to say, looking at the flow chart that Felecia showed, I want you all to realize I am the local person who does all of that. So I organize and schedule the voter registration events. We have worked on scheduling the candidate forums and contacting the candidates. I am in the middle of developing the Vote 411, which I am planning to publish next week, which means a lot of technical work and, again, contacting the candidates time and time again. We are also, this year, we're doing a lot of voter education. One thing we came up with was these little bookmarkers that has important dates that you need to remember before voting, like the supervisory election is going to begin sending out the vote by mail ballots, if you have signed up for them, starting next week on July 23rd. And then July 25th is the last day if you want to register for the primary election, or if you want to make changes in your registration. For instance, if you have decided that you would like to vote with a different political party, you can do that, but you have to do it before July 25th. We are also working on getting out the vote. And right now, like I said, we're doing all of these things. I've been really excited recently for, well, the whole time that I have been in this job, which is 4 years, I've wanted to make inroads with the Hispanic community. And finally we have. We are going to be doing a voter registration, voter education event. There's going to be an event. It's a back to school blast. It's in Onico. And generally that neighborhood is Spanish speaking. So we have got some volunteers who are Spanish speaking, who can help us, who help translate. And I have also been able to translate some of our flyers and, again, the bookmarks into Spanish. So I'm hopeful that we will make contact with this Hispanic community, which I have, like I said, I tried to get into, but I felt like we were ignoring them totally. We're also, one of the things that we do yearly, we go into State College of Florida and make contact with the students, get the ones registered who have not. And again, voter education. Okay, guys, let's get out and vote. And again, these gentle reminders that Alice was talking about. One thing we do not know, our group has decided we don't go door to door. So if you were thinking about helping me, that's not a problem. We go to events, we set up tables, and we do our voter registration and voter education events there. Just this past week, several of you might have watched the candidate forums for the Manatee County School Board. We were able to get all of the candidates in to answer our questions and get their information out to the public. If you miss them, those videos are available at our website, lwvmanatee.org. We're working on the, I'll be honest here, we're working on the county commissioners. We would like to do more with them, but we are having some difficulty with them responding for whatever reason. One of the problems is with our candidate forums, we have found, even though we might have one opponent in a race who is very willing to come to our video and answer our questions, if their opponent refuses to come, we cannot show them. There has to be at least 2 people to do a candidate forum. Now, if there's 3 people who are opponents and one of them doesn't show up, that's fine. We can do an empty chair, but we have to have at least 2 of them. So if you notice coming up, there's not a candidate forum for the county commissioner district you'd like, that's why. Okay, and if you're interested in helping me, you can contact me. I put my email there, but it is carolyns791@gmail.com. And I will get back to you. I will tell you how you can get certified to work as a voter registrant with the League of Women Voters. We happen to have a test. Apparently nobody else in the state does, but our volunteers have to pass this test at 100% in order to work with us to do voter registration. However, again, if you're not interested in that, you can come out and do voter education and talk to people like, when do I have to do this in order to vote? And we are going to be having maps of the new school board districts. You know, we had to change our districts last year after, okay, as my mind goes blank. Anyhow, we have the school board, and we will also, the county commissioners district have changed a bit, so that will be available. So most of us probably, at least those who had changes in their district, just like, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. In the school district previously, you voted for everybody, and now you have a certain district and a certain group, a certain candidates that you have to vote for. So thank you all. And yes, I am busy and I could use a lot of help. So give me a call. All right. Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. There's some good questions here. Alice, did you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I did want to add that Carolyn is correct. It's like seasonal work. It's like being a tax accountant, you know.
Exactly.
All of a sudden you get slammed. And if you look at the structure of the state, one of the things that Carolyn did last year is write out, what we needed. We really could use that kind of division because, and Carolyn's made that point that on these forms, we have standards. So that if you looked at who shall remain nameless, they ran a candidate form where they had theoretically all the county commission candidates. Well, they had 2 in a 3-person race, and they had 1 in a 2-person race. We can't do that. That's just not fair. So so we do. But interestingly, at the end of the last of our school district ones, one of the candidates stayed on a little longer, and I'm hoping he'll become a member. And he said, your candidate forms are so much more professionally run and so much fairer. So I think that speaks volumes for what Felecia was talking about, where we gain respect by the fact that we follow these rules to keep it fair, to keep it unbiased. And Carolyn could use somebody that wanted to take over voter forms, and Carolyn could use somebody that wanted to take over vote 411. So.
Thank you, Alice. There's some wonderful comments and statements here I'd like to share with everyone. First of all, one of our participants asked, RE, regarding interns, what does the term voter practices mean? How are inactive voters outreached? Who would like to answer that question?
Felecia?
All right.
I don't know.
Okay, well, let me put it another way. Do we reach out to inactive voters at all as a league?
As a league, it is, and there is an effort on that regard, and that is one of the biggest issues. You can register people like crazy, but they have to vote. And that is one of the biggest issues to motivate. And one of the things that we do to try to do that motivation is the kind of outreach that Carolyn's talking about, where she's talking about, we're going to the schools and we're saying, why should you vote? But also things like the the back to school event that's held in Oneiko, that's going to be an area that has low voter turnout. And Carolyn's group is going to have all the maps of the different districts, and that has changed because the school districts no longer are the same as the county commission districts. So you can be in District 2 in this one and District 4 in that one. But Carolyn, please tell us why you might want to change your political party.
Okay. Well, if you live in Manatee County, if you have seen the candidates running for county commissioner, we seem to have a lot of candidates from one party, which happens to be the Republican Party. Normally, if you have a primary race and you have only candidates from one party, everyone would be able to vote there because that person would be the winner of the overall contest. However, I mean, since I've been here, so I can't speak previously, I think it is pretty new. They have come up with an idea. The candidate who is running, I'm not going to say they're going to, but somebody comes up with, and they're going to be a write-in candidate, which means they don't even have to qualify. They don't have to declare a party, but they will be running in the general election, which means that primary election where everyone could have voted no longer can vote. Only the people of that party could vote, and the winner of that will be running against the write-in candidate in November, which nobody knows because they don't have to advertise. Their name is not even on the ballot, but it stops us from being able to vote unless we happen to be a member of that party. So in order for me, I felt one of the most important races for me is the county commissioners, because all politics is local, and this is what affects me the most, is what these county commissioners are doing. So I want to be able to at least give my voice to who is going to be the candidate in November. So that's why I've switched my party just for the election, which may sound unfair, but it's more unfair that the whole rest of the voting population can't vote for anybody in that race.
Yeah, less than 50% of the population of Manatee County will be able to vote on who's representing them. And that the original intention of the, and it was citizen initiative, the original intention was that you should be able to vote on who is representing to you. And then this loophole was introduced where you can close election, no cost, no nothing. You just come in and say, I want to be in, and close the election. So only one party can be there. And so this loophole still exists. It was put in by our legislature, bless them. Bless their little hearts. And so, you know, you do have a limited amount of time before the election. As Carolyn said, it's what, the 25th? That you
Right.
can, and this is not something you can do online. I mean, you can do it online, but they need a signature. So that
You do need a signature. Yeah, I had to mail mine in. I filled it out online and I still had to mail it in because they wanted my signature.
Yeah. So anyway.
I was gonna add to the prior question.
Yeah.
If one of the partners that we have is State Voices, and they actually have a voter database. If you were wanting to target a specific precinct, you can actually go in and see the number of voters in that precinct. And if you had the number of eligible voters in that precinct, you can tell what percent is voting or not voting. That's one way you can address that. if people
Good.
aren't voting. But as Alice stated, voter registration is one thing, but voter education, I think, is just as important. And then somehow developing some type of plan or helping voters develop a plan to actually get out to vote. And whether that is encouraging them to vote early or vote by mail, because a lot of times people have intended to go vote, but during their day, they get so busy and they forget. And that's a lost opportunity there. And I think one of the other things that we need to, continue to share with our community, that it is important from a local standpoint to vote. This upcoming primary is, primaries are one of those elections that doesn't get a lot of people coming out to vote. And I think we're in a critical stage within this state that everybody should be voicing their vote. So if you can encourage your family, your friends, get to the polls early and make it happen.
Yes, I totally agree with that. There's some really nice comments in here, so let me continue. Elaine, by the way, Carolyn said, excellent school board forums this week. Well done to all. We all need to share far and wide. And then a question from Holly Green. Carolyn, do you know what is the Center for Voter Information? I'm receiving mailings from this organization. Does it have anything? It doesn't mention the League of Women Voters. Do you know anything about that organization?
I know nothing about it. I would research it. I wouldn't trust it, but I really know nothing about it.
The other thing that's interesting is in this era, organizations are popping up like dandelions in the spring. I mean, there are so many organizations popping up that think they're going to cure the voting issues that we have. And, this is one reason that Felecia was talking about, how the partnering is so important, because we don't want to risk our reputation on some unvetted organization. But on the other hand, we have partnered with Vote Writers, and we have partnered with other things, and our community partnership resulted. Felecia, let them know about the what Reverend Golden set up with the churches.
Right. So Reverend Golden has basically working to partner with the Florida League in order to get us in the AME churches. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten the response that we thought we should have had by now, but we're working through those churches that are interested. So if we can start that process to actually educate even the voters that are already registered, but work with the pastors of those churches to ensure that they somehow set up some type of mechanism to get the voters to the polls. So, and that came out of our April 2nd event, when we had a community event with Cecile Schoon, who was our state president. She came and spoke, and that's where she met Reverend Golden, and they have been talking since then. So there's a way that we can, educate as well as encourage people to go vote.
Thank you. Lyle Landon is sharing something that she saw in California and that she enjoyed very much. Let me see, just disappeared. Oh, there you are. Lyle says, when I was helping our younger daughter settle in her freshman year in a California college, there were throngs of young people swarming the parking lots to sign up new residents as California voters. And she found that to be very effective. Thank you for sharing that. And Ginger mentioned something here. In Manatee, a couple of those write-in candidates have said they are only running to close the primary and are not interested in the position and will not be actively campaigning. Wow. There we go. Rebecca, the primary is the truest, closest opportunity people have to change their voices and have them heard. Does a write-in candidate have to declare before the deadline to change parties? Who knows that
Well,
question?
there has been a rule change in these recent voting laws, in that you cannot change party within a year of what you declare. But these are known characters. These are people that every election they will close a thing. So they know a year in advance to choose a party. And-
Excuse me, Alice,
yeah,
write-in candidates do not have to declare a party. They're
Yeah.
just there. It's a non-party, or if they would change from Republican to Democrat. A write-in candidate just says, I want to run, and that's it.
Oh,
clearly,
my.
yeah, clearly that loophole is just set up so that the parties can protect.
Right.
themselves.
But
Right.
this is Rebecca, but do they have to meet a deadline so that it's earlier than what you said the close off date for July?
Yeah, they have to meet the same deadline for qualifying, which I believe was June 17th.
So
I
it's
mean,
a
all
month
of the,
before our closing date for
Right.
enrolling.
in here, it's June 17th. Everybody has to qualify by that date. But they don't have to they don't have to do anything but just say. They don't have to pay money. They don't have to get a petition. They just sign up and say they want to run.
Okay.
But Rebecca, the thing that I think you might be getting to, and I don't know for sure, is that someone, if you go to the Supervisors of Election site, votemanatee.com, and you click on candidate information, you can see who's qualified and who's not qualified. And you can look at it, and you've got from the 17th to July 20 of June to July 25th to say, wow, I have nobody I can vote for if I stay a non-party affiliate. So that now you can always vote for the school board, because that's non-party affiliation. But our legislature, there's a movement afoot, and it's something that we're not really in support of, to make them have to declare a party. And that's going to make it just even worse. So, I mean, everybody knows kind of, but the truth is, now with them having to run as a no party affiliation, all of us can vote for every candidate, and that's a good thing. And it's even better because on the school board ones, if you have more than 2 candidates, if one of them doesn't get more than 50%, it goes to the general election. But I just looked at my ballot. I did change to Republican so I can vote for who's representing you. I only have 4 votes.
Right.
Four races I can vote on, and that's registering Republican, because I don't have I'm not in the districts, the county commission districts that are up for election this time.
All right, so here, this is a very important topic. Thanks for bringing it up. 2 questions about this. Dale Ottoman, so Carolyn, do you have to wait a whole year to change your affiliation again?
Okay, I don't. Personally, you don't. I could change it back the day after the primary election. We're just talking about candidates here. They have to be certified they were a member of the party for at least 365 days before they do qualify. Now, we can do it anytime. You can change as often as you want. You just have to fill out the form.
And so that is for Manatee County. Do you happen to know, either you or Felecia, across the state? Is that?
That would be the state. Yeah, I would. Yeah, Manatee County is the state rules. Yeah.
All
It's
right.
in the new, if you would like me to go through all of the new election laws, I can do that. It takes about half an hour, but I'm not going to do that right now. Yeah.
No, but I think
That was another thing I failed to mention. That was I was the expert in that, Manatee County, I believe.
She's done a lot of wonderful presentations on voting law changes. And anybody that has an organization, Carolyn's gotten up and presented at 7 a.m. So
So you're another one that doesn't sleep, right? Is that basically it? Not a
Oh, I
requirement.
get my sleep. We just go to bed early.
So Betty has asked a question that's pretty near and dear to me and to Felecia and to all of us, actually. And she says, has the membership of the League of Women Voters gone up recently?
Oh,
So,
yes.
so Felecia, would you like, and that's across the state. So Felecia, would you like to address that?
Well, I could say from a state standpoint, our numbers were down earlier this year. And that was because I think the COVID, a lot of people that had been members of the local leagues didn't renew their registration, their membership. From a Manatee League, though, our numbers have increased. And I think it's driven by all the committee work that is being done and some of our politicians. So
we have 2 recruiters. We have the team of Cheryl and Felecia, and we have the team of our county commission that are recruiting for us.
So also, we welcome any of you here tonight that are not members to consider joining us. We'd love to have you be part of it. It's
yeah,
just a great group of people.
absolutely. And one of the things that we had a membership chair meeting at the state level today.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I kept hearing across the board is that membership is increasing now. One of the leagues had like 3 in-person events, and they basically had like over 100 people at each one of those events. So people are getting out, and I think that's going to help drive the numbers. The other thing that's probably going to drive the numbers, if the primary doesn't, the general election probably will in November.
So thank you for that. And Rebecca, great questions tonight. We're going to have one more poll, and then we're going to wrap it up. Let's see. Let's see if we can do this.
I even clicked on poll thinking somehow it would.
Oh, you're off the hook. Okay. You can just put it in the chat, your answer. How about that? Which of these was not made illegal by Senate Bill 90? A, voting after you are convicted of a murder. B, dropping off the ballots from a retirement home. C, having an open drop box with security cameras only monitoring, not a person. D, giving water or food to someone waiting in a line to cast a vote. So the question is again, which of these was not made illegal by Senate Bill 90? You can put them in the chat if you want to.
This is a one, you could actually poll on this one because this is one answer.
All right, there's one answer. All right. Interesting.
Oh, I think we have some voter education coming here.
All
I
right.
think Carolyn should answer this one.
Yeah,
She's the expert.
she just muted herself and disappeared. So Alice,
Okay, I'm here. Okay, I'm here. And the only one that was not made illegal by State Bill 90 was that you could not vote after being a murderer, because that was always true.
all these other things,
Now
unfortunately,
illegal.
are now illegal.
Now illegal.
We've
So-
gone.
Yeah, so if you look at what's now illegal, if somebody's standing in line and you walk up and you give them a bottle of water, that's illegal. if you, and it doesn't even matter if you have campaign gear on. The biggest thing that we have been upset about and objecting to is the Dropbox provisions. Because our supervisor of elections has their Dropbox open, did 24 hours a day with 3 security cameras on it. Now they have this poor guy that stands out front for no reason, because you could throw your ballot into a mailbox and it's still legitimate. But for some reason, that mail slot with security cameras on it is less safe than a mailbox. So go figure on that one. So, also, Carolyn, what are the provisions about ballot harvesting?
Okay, I want to go back to the Dropbox. The Dropboxes now are only open right now during the supervisory elections office hours, which are like 8:30 to 6 o'clock. That's during the week because that's office hours. And then when early voting starts, they will be available just during early voting. We figured out last year that our citizens are losing 750 hours of time to drop it off. Ballot harvesting, we're talking about mainly what I know we have had groups that would go into one of the assisted living and say, okay, we're going to have a voting party. And the people there have their vote by mail ballots, they fill them out. And then somebody takes the whole bunch of them and takes them to the supervisory elections office. That's now illegal. The only people that are allowed to do that are paid workers of the supervisory elections office. So like the activities director of the home, they can't do it anymore. They have to have somebody from the SOE come over. And they're really busy just before election. I mean, it's hard for any of them to get out to do that, yes.
That's another catch. It has to be a paid SOE employee. So you can't use volunteers. You can't qualify them somehow. And it's now illegal to donate any money to have it happen.
Or in kind.
Or in kind. So we used to go in, and when they were busy, we would do the voter registration in the high schools when they had something called the Big Bank Theory, and also do voter education. And now we're going to have to ask the schools on our own because they won't let us do it through the SOE because that's in kind.
Well, this has been a pretty amazing evening. Thank you all for.
Hey, Cheryl, can I make 2 comments? They'll be short. I want to, if you are interested, there's a statewide lunch and learn on voter registration this coming Friday. And that's at 1 p.m. So you can check that out. And the other thing is on September 20th is National Voter Registration Day. So something to consider.
Felecia, we have a number of people here that are not members and did not get the lunch and learn. Is there a link that we can give the people? There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So as we wrap it up tonight, I invite you all to go to the League of Women Voters, manatee.org's website and find out more about us. Also, we have our next taste will be September 15th at 5:30 with a focus on our education action chair. And also we're doing a wonderful event with community leaders, July 30th, building community relationships, and will be part 2 on Zoom. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight. I thank you all. And again, special thanks to Felecia, Carolyn, and our president, Alice. Good evening.
Yes, thank you so much.